Have you ever had it where you finally sit down to do this task that you have been avoiding for weeks? And just as you sit down, you start to have this voice in your head saying, you know what? I will do it later, maybe another 5 minutes. Oh, actually, let me start this other thing first. It's not even that you don't want to accomplish the task that you have in front of you or that you don't want to achieve the goal. You're very ambitious and you're probably more ambitious than most people around you. So, why does this task that seems so simple turns into this full on negotiation with yourself? Initially, it might feel like it's a discipline or willpower problem, but that's not the case. You are motivated to achieve your goal, and you probably have accomplished big things in the past, so you know you are disciplined. But it's a pattern that you have built without even realizing it. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what that pattern is and what are some of the things that you can do to break it. I have had a lot of this happen to me. And I think the most confusing part about it is that the task, once and if you actually get to it, it might take only like 20 minutes to get it done. I literally have had it where I spend weeks postponing a task that feels so intimidating and so huge that by the time that I finally get myself to do it, it takes me only 20 minutes, literally. So the task that you need to do, it might actually not be that big or that hard or even take that long, but somehow you can literally spend hours, if not days or weeks, talking yourself out of it or negotiating with yourself or trying to convince yourself to get up and do the task. And if you ever get to actually doing the task instead of postponing it, even before starting it, you already feel tired because of all this push and pull negotiations with yourself and trying to map out when is the best time to do it and when you're going to start and how big is the task going to be without even starting the task. It's literally as you sit down to do it, you are already tired. And with that, even the easy tasks can end up feeling very hard because of all the energy and effort that you need to put in just to show up to the starting line. And it also can be confusing if you're somebody who has background at being disciplined, accomplishing big things, staying consistent, having resilience, where it might feel like it's such a small task. Why am I struggling with this? And you might start to get to beat yourself up, be negative towards yourself, or start to look at it as something bad or you being lazy. Or you might justify that, oh, I'm not ready yet. I need to go and prep for doing this task. And you go the other way around where you now procrastinate on your procrastination through planning and strategizing and trying to map out how to better do the task instead of just going and doing the task. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I know I'm not the only one that has gone through that. And that's why I'm making this video, because I feel like so many of us, we can end up beating ourselves up or start to feel like something is wrong with us. We're being lazy and we never actually address the root cause of it. Which one of the things is that you're not actually avoiding the task, you're avoiding what the task means to you, especially when it comes to not doing the task or that task potentially leading to a potential failure. If you're somebody who has linked your worth to your performance and the way you show up and what you achieve, now every single task becomes this measurement of what you're capable of or how worthy you are, if you're going to become who you said you're going to become. So no wonder part of you is not wanting to do the task, because doing the task and potentially failing or not finishing can lead to that sense of not I failed or I didn't finish the task, but I'm a failure and I'm not good enough. Or even kind of prove yourself, see, I don't have it. I'm not capable. It also doesn't help that we are in a world where there's literally no friction. So even the easiest task now becomes hard. Like, for example, you don't need to sweep the floor. You have a robot doing that for you. You don't have to cook a meal. You can order it online. You don't have to go to cinema to watch a movie. You can just turn it on Netflix. And when it comes to actually doing those tiny tasks that have some friction, what you do is you train your muscle of being able to do hard things or being able to do things that are uncomfortable or that are inconvenient. And with that, you overcome that friction, which helps you build resilience. But if you remove all of that and you live in this comfortable environment where you don't have to be uncomfortable, you don't have to overcome any inconveniences, then you don't actually build that muscle. So now even the easiest task can become something hard. And if the easy stuff starts to feel hard, what about the stuff that actually is hard? With this, I also have noticed that a lot of people use shame or self hate to motivate themselves into taking action, which it can work. For me, it did work to even with my basketball journey, where I was so insecure of the way I was or my physical abilities that I started to wake up at 5 a.m. when I was like very early teen, and I would go out and I would do my own workouts. And within a couple of years, I was in a very good shape where I was able to play all game without stopping, and I was very, very high performer. I was at one point I was top 5 player in the country, but I did not enjoy it. I was not present fully. I was always focused on not being enough or the mistakes that I made, even if there were many little mistakes, and I would even fix them after making them. I still was focusing on all the things that I was not because of all that shame and self hate that was lying underneath. So using those emotions can help for period of time, but it's not something that is sustainable long term, at least if you want to have your achievement go hand in hand with your well-being. It's kind of like you can't really hate yourself into the version you want to become. You can hate yourself into improvement and progress, but maybe not into the version of yourself that you are actually capable of becoming. If you think about it, the hardest part of every task is not actually doing the task. It's starting to do the task. Because once you start, then you get in this flow and it's much easier to keep going. The hardest thing for the most part is starting. And that's why you want to make this barrier between not doing it and starting to do it as small as possible so that it's easier for you to start. Let's say in this case, as I'm filming the video, instead of writing film the video, which can feel overwhelming, once I know how much I want to cover within one video and how I need to present the information and I need to explain it properly or the way I would want to explain it, and then there's a lot of overthinking that can start. Instead, I can say, press record. That's it. And then once I start, I'm like, okay, I can just keep going. And then I keep going. And soon enough, the video is done. With starting, also keep in mind that you will not feel good before you start. You're usually going to feel good either after you have started or after you finish. So don't wait for motivation. This is something that I think so many people, there's a lot of content now about it. Don't feel motivated before you start. Motivation comes afterwards, which is true. And all the good emotions, same thing. Like you don't feel great before you start, but you feel very good when you finish or you accomplish the task. So just keep in mind that having expectation to feel motivated, to feel great is not going to help you. It might actually make it harder for you to start if you expect to feel good every single time that you need to start. Most of the times for me, I don't feel good about doing the tasks that I need to do, but I don't rely on feeling good to get them done. I just go and do them. And then once I do them, that's when the sense of readiness catches up with me. Also, at this stage, it's also more important at the very beginning until you get more comfortable with starting the task. It's less important how big is the task than you actually starting it. So you want to make it small enough where the perceived resistance or perceived friction for you to overcome to start that task is relatively small. So instead of, let's say, reading 10 pages, you can say, open a book. And then what you do is you start to train your brain that you do the things that you say you're going to do. And with time, you start to build that trust with yourself. And also, you start to build this list of proof of you finishing and starting the task instead of not and procrastinating on it, which only feeds those negative beliefs and negative thoughts stepping into future where the moment you want to start a task, you already have this voice at the back of your mind being like, yeah, maybe tomorrow, I don't feel like it, and have all these stories and all these justifications how you're not going to do that. The good thing is that procrastination is a learned behavior. So you can learn to change it as well. And with doing these things over time, with staying consistent, you will actually start to see things change. And I know that because I have seen it in myself, I have seen it in other people around me, and I have seen it in clients that I'm working with. So that is something that you just need to start, and you need to keep going, and you need to just make it small enough where you actually know that you will stay consistent with it and you will actually do it. Before we close out, let me know in comments what are some of those tasks that you thought will take you forever to finish, or they will be so hard, so challenging to get done. But then once you started to do them, it literally either took you very little time or very little effort to get them done. I'm very curious to learn what were the ones for you.